My girlfriend announced during our anniversary dinner, I slept with my ex for closure. Stop being such a jealous baby about it. She sneered and added, real men don't get insecure over their girlfriend's past needs. So, I kicked her out, got my revenge, and now she's desperately begging, hey Reddit! I honestly don't know where to start because I still can't believe this happened. I'm 29, male, and my girlfriend, Kimberly, 27, and I just had our 5-year anniversary dinner. It was supposed to be this romantic evening at Romano's, the same Italian place where we had our very first date back in college. I'd been planning this for weeks. Made reservations for 7 p.m. at our usual table by the window. We've probably sat at that exact table like 50 times over the years. It's become our spot, you know. The hostess always remembers us, asks how we're doing, the whole deal. I even bought her a Cartier bracelet that cost me $3,000, which is a huge amount for a sales rep like me, but I figured 5 years together deserved something special. I'd been saving up for it for months. Anyway, we get to Romano's and right away something feels off. The moment we walked in and she saw our table, her whole mood changed. She kept checking her phone during appetizers, barely touched her chicken parmigiana, which is usually her favorite thing there. I mean, this girl can put away a plate of pasta like nobody's business. But tonight, she was just pushing it around with her fork. She seemed nervous, too, fidgeting with her napkin, glancing around the restaurant like she was waiting for someone to walk in. I kept asking if everything was okay, and she just kept saying, yeah, fine, in that tone women use when nothing is fine. You guys know exactly what I mean. I figured maybe she was stressed about work. Her manager's been a real pain lately, making everyone pull extra hours because they're short-staffed. Plus, Kimberly's been covering shifts. Banking is stressful, dealing with angry customers all day about balances and denied loan applications. So, I thought I'd cheer her up with the gift. We had just finished our entrees, and I figured this was the perfect moment. I pulled out the little Cartier box and slid it across the table with this big smile on my face. Happy 5 years, babe. She opened it, looked at the bracelet for maybe 2 seconds, then closed the box. Didn't even try it on. Didn't even say thank you. Just sat there staring at the closed box like it was going to explode. That's when I knew something was seriously wrong. This is a girl who gets excited about jewelry from Target. And here I am with a $3,000 Cartier piece and she can barely look at it. Hayden, I need to tell you something. That tone. You guys know that tone. Nothing good ever starts with that tone. It's the same one your mom used when she was about to tell you your dog died, or the one your high school girlfriend used before she dumped you for the quarterback. My stomach just dropped. Okay, what's up? I slept with Jaden last weekend, just like that. No build-up, no explanation, straight to the point. Jaden's her ex. They dated for like 2 years before she and I got together. I always thought that was ancient history. He's a personal trainer now, all muscles and protein shakes. I just sat there for a minute trying to process what she had said. The restaurant noise kind of faded out. Other couples were laughing, having normal anniversary dinners, while mine just went up in flames. I could hear the couple at the next table talking about vacation plans to Hawaii. Meanwhile, I was finding out my girlfriend had been cheating on me. When you said you were at your sister's place? I asked. Yeah. Last weekend, she told me she was spending Saturday night at her sister Megan's because Megan was having relationship problems and needed girl time. She came home Sunday evening acting all weird, claiming she was tired from staying up late talking. I even asked if everything was okay with Megan, and she just said, yeah, they worked things out. And here's the part that really got me. She didn't look sorry. She looked annoyed. Like I was bothering her by asking why my girlfriend of 5 years just confessed to cheating on me during our anniversary dinner. I needed closure, Hayden. I've been thinking about him a lot recently. It was just one night. What's the big deal? What's the big deal? She cheated on me and asked what's the big deal? Like she had borrowed my car without asking or something. You planned this? I asked. I wouldn't call it planning. I just needed to figure out my feelings. But I could tell by the way she said it that this wasn't some spur-of-the-moment thing. For the past 6 weeks, she'd been acting weird, distant, working late, glued to her phone. Now it all made sense. She had been planning this. You're being dramatic. At least I told you instead of hiding it. Most girls would just keep it secret. You should be grateful I'm being honest. Grateful. She wanted me to be grateful that she cheated on me and then told me about it. The waiter came by asking if we wanted dessert. I couldn't even look at him. Kimberly waved him away like nothing happened. Like we were just talking about the weather. So what now? I asked. Now nothing. It's done. I got my closure. We can move on. Move on? Yes, Hayden. It actually made me realize that I want to be with you. Jaden and I don't have that spark anymore. You should be happy. Happy. I should be happy she cheated on me because she decided she likes me better. This is exactly why I needed to see if Jaden was more mature than you're being right now. That did it. I stood up, took the Cartier box back, and walked over to our waitress, Jessica. She's been serving us for like 2 years. Knows us by name, asks about our jobs, remembers that I like extra Parmesan on my salad. Hey, Jessica, my girlfriend just told me she needed closure sex with her ex for our anniversary. This is yours now. I handed her the $3,000 bracelet. Her eyes went wide and she tried to give it back, but I was already walking toward the exit. I could feel the entire restaurant go silent as people turned to watch. Hayden, what the hell are you doing? Kimberly shouted. Enjoy paying for dinner. I left her there with an $1,800 check and no way to pay since I had driven us in my car. She'd have to figure out how to get home on her own. I didn't look back, but I could hear her calling my name as I walked out the door. I got home around 9:00 p.m. after driving around for an hour just trying to process everything. I sat in my driveway for 20 minutes staring at my house. This is my house, by the way. I bought it 2 years ago when I started making better money in sales. The mortgage is in my name, the deed is in my name, everything. Kimberly's been staying here most nights for the past year and a half, but she never officially moved in. She still has her apartment across town, mostly for storage, but I really thought we were building something permanent here. She has a drawer in my dresser, half the closet space, her shampoo in the shower, her coffee maker on my kitchen counter because mine wasn't good enough, pictures of us all over the walls. It felt like we were living together without the paperwork, basically married except for the legal part. Truth is, I was planning to propose soon. I'd been looking at rings online thinking about how to do it, maybe on a vacation somewhere nice or back at Romano's where it all started. Then my phone started going off around 9:30. Text after text from Kimberly. How could you embarrass me like that? Jessica probably thinks I'm a horrible person. You left me stranded. I had to call an Uber and it cost $35. Answer your phone. We need to talk about this like adults. You're being childish. I didn't answer a single one. I just went inside and tried to watch TV but couldn't focus on anything. My mind kept going back to how casual she was about the whole thing. Like she genuinely couldn't understand why I was upset. The way she said, "What's the big deal?" kept replaying in my head. And the fact that she planned it, she spent weeks thinking about it, texting Jaden, setting up a time to meet, lying to me about where she was going. That takes real calculation. Around 11 p.m., I heard her car pull into the driveway. That same old Honda Civic she's had since college, the one she refuses to replace even though the air conditioning doesn't work and the radio only picks up AM stations. Then I heard her key in the lock. I'd already decided to change the locks tomorrow, so I knew this would be the last time that key worked. She came storming in, still wearing the same black dress from dinner, the one I bought her for her birthday last year. The irony wasn't lost on me. She immediately launched into a tirade about how I'd embarrassed her in front of everyone at the restaurant, how Jessica was going to tell all the staff what happened, how humiliating it all was for her. The audacity was unreal. She was furious at me for embarrassing her, right after she had confessed to cheating on me at our anniversary dinner. I pointed out that it wasn't nearly as humiliating as finding out your girlfriend of 5 years thinks cheating is no big deal. That's when she hit me with the closure defense again. She insisted it wasn't cheating, that what she did with Jaden was different because it had a purpose. Like her motivation somehow changed what actually happened. She really wanted me to believe that sleeping with her ex didn't count because she had some noble reason behind it. I told her there was no difference. She just kept going, saying how ridiculous I was being, how I'd given away a $3,000 bracelet just to prove some petty point. I told her she didn't deserve it, which set her off even more. She kept hammering on the fact that it was just one night with Jaden. Like that made it better. Like I should be okay with it because it wasn't an ongoing affair. That's when I told her to pack her stuff and leave. She actually looked shocked, like she hadn't even considered that this might be the consequence of her actions. She started arguing, saying we lived together and had a life together. but that's when it hit me how smart I'd been without even realizing it. I'd never put her name on anything. Never officially moved her in. She kept insisting she wasn't going anywhere, that I couldn't just kick her out over this. She went on about how we'd been together for 5 years, and that meant something. That we had a life together, and I couldn't just throw it away over one mistake. But here's the thing. It wasn't a mistake. A mistake is forgetting to pay a bill or accidentally deleting an important email. This was a choice. A series of choices over several weeks. So I called the police. "Hi, I need someone removed from my property. She doesn't live here legally and won't leave when asked." "You're calling the cops on me?" she shouted, jumping up from the couch. "Are you insane? You said you weren't leaving. So now you don't have a choice." She started freaking out, saying I was crazy, that this was her home too. But legally it wasn't. Sure, she got mail here sometimes, but her permanent address was still her apartment. She never paid rent or utilities. Her name wasn't on anything. 2 officers showed up about 15 minutes later. Both were professional. I explained the situation, my house, my lease. She didn't live here officially. I wanted her gone. They asked if she had any mail coming here consistently, or if she'd been staying longer than 30 days straight without leaving. Truth is, she goes back to her apartment at least once a week for clothes or to check on things. So she's never technically been here for 30 consecutive days. She stays here sometimes, sure, but it isn't her legal residence. They told her to gather her immediate belongings and leave. She tried to argue with them about our relationship problems, saying we were practically married. But they weren't interested in our personal drama. "Ma'am, if this isn't your legal residence and the homeowner wants you to leave, you need to go." She grabbed some clothes, her toothbrush and work clothes for tomorrow, all while calling me every name in the book as she stuffed things into a grocery bag. She said I was going to regret this, that I was making the biggest mistake of my life, that no one would ever love me like she did. The next morning, I woke up to my phone going absolutely crazy. 17 missed calls and about 30 text messages. Most were from Kimberly's family, which was weird because I usually only heard from them on holidays or birthdays. Her mom is the type who posts long Facebook messages about family being everything and shares minion memes, but she and I never really talked much one-on-one. Still, her mom started calling at 7 a.m., which is early even for her. I was barely awake, still trying to process everything from last night. For a split second, when I saw Mom on the caller ID, I forgot it wasn't my mom and answered without thinking. The conversation was basically her telling me Kimberly came home crying last night and had to move back into her old bedroom. Apparently, Kimberly spun some story about us having a fight and me overreacting to a misunderstanding. She made it sound like I kicked her out over something minor. Instead of, her cheating on me, her mom kept saying things like, "Everyone makes mistakes. She loves you so much. Don't throw away 5 years over one little error in judgment." I tried to explain that it wasn't a mistake or an error in judgment. She planned this for weeks. But her mom just kept interrupting me, saying I was being dramatic, that couples work through these things all the time. The whole conversation lasted maybe 10 minutes before I realized it was pointless. She was never going to see it from my perspective because Kimberly had already poisoned the well with her version of events. So I just said she made her choice. Now she gets to live with it, and hung up. Her dad called an hour later with basically the same speech. "She's a good girl, Hayden. She made an error in judgment. Don't be stubborn about this. Her dad's always been this old-school guy who thinks men should just put up with whatever women do because that's what marriage is about." Error in judgment. Like she accidentally took the wrong exit on the highway instead of deliberately planning to sleep with her ex-boyfriend. I blocked both their numbers after that, because I could already see where this was going. They were going to keep calling, trying to guilt me into taking her back. But the real surprise came when my parents called that afternoon. Apparently, Kimberly's mom had called them, trying to get them to talk sense into me. My parents are pretty private people and don't usually get involved in my relationship drama. So I was curious to hear what they had to say. My dad was the one who called, which was unusual, because my mom usually handles the emotional stuff. "Son, we heard what happened. Are you okay?" Just hearing him ask that simple question in his calm, steady voice made me feel better immediately. I gave him the real story. He listened without interrupting, the way he always does. He processes before he reacts. Good, he said when I finished. Your mother and I think you handled it right. Nobody should put up with that kind of disrespect. We liked Kimberly, my mom added when she got on the phone. We thought she was good for you, but what she did was wrong. And the way her family handled everything told me exactly where she learned this behavior. Honestly, it felt good having my parents back me up for once instead of trying to convince me to take back a cheater. It's funny, you don't realize how badly you need that kind of support until you actually get it. Around 5 p.m., my phone rang again from a number I didn't recognize. I figured it might be work-related since I had a big presentation coming up Monday, and sometimes clients call on weekends. Instead, it was Connor, Kimberly's older brother. He's the type who thinks he's tough just because he works construction and drives a lifted truck with truck nuts hanging off the hitch. He's always spouting off about respect and honor, but the guy's never actually been in a real fight in his life. You left my sister stranded at a restaurant and called the cops on her, he said. What kind of man does that? The kind who doesn't tolerate cheating, I shot back. He told me Kimberly made one mistake and I was acting like she killed someone. There it was again, one mistake. As if cheating is the same as forgetting to take out the trash or leaving the toilet seat up. You embarrassed her in front of everyone at that restaurant. You're lucky I don't come over there and teach you some respect, he said. And there it was, the threat I had been expecting. Connor has always been the type to use intimidation because he's bigger than most people. He's about 6'3", 250 pounds, most of it muscle from throwing around construction materials all day. Are you threatening me, Connor? I asked. I'm telling you to fix this situation before I fix it for you. The funny thing is, I wasn't even scared. Maybe I should have been, but honestly, I was just tired of everyone acting like I was the bad guy. Like I somehow forced Kimberly to cheat on me, and then had the audacity to actually be upset about it. Connor, your sister is a grown woman who made grown-up choices. She can deal with grown-up consequences. I hung up and immediately blocked his number. The whole thing was so typical of Kimberly's family. Instead of being disappointed in her for cheating, they were furious at me for not just accepting it and moving on. Like I was supposed to be grateful that she chose me after her little test drive with Jaden. Then around 8 p.m., my cousin Austin called, asking what the hell was going on because apparently the story was already making the rounds through our friend group. Austin's basically like a brother to me. We grew up together, went to the same high school, and he's the one I tell everything to. Dude, did you really give a $3,000 bracelet to your waitress? He asked. Word travels fast in a town like ours, especially since Romano's is the kind of place where half the people eating there know each other. And of course, Jessica probably told everyone who would listen. Yeah, I admitted. That's the most savage thing I've ever heard, he said. Then he told me Jessica had even posted about it on Facebook. She couldn't believe it. Great. Now it was on social media. But honestly, I didn't care. Let everyone know what Kimberly did. Maybe it would save some other guy from going through the same thing. I went to bed that night feeling pretty good about my decision. Sure, my 5-year relationship was over, but at least I knew where my real support system was. The next morning, though, I woke up with a realization that hit me like a brick to the face. The joint savings account. The one we'd been building for our future house and wedding. Kimberly still had full access to it. And knowing her family, especially after those phone calls yesterday, they were probably encouraging her to take whatever she could. Before I froze her out completely, we had opened that account 2.5 years ago, back when we decided to play adults. Saving for a house. Wedding, honeymoon, the whole Pinterest dream. We even made a spreadsheet because we thought it made us look responsible. Money-wise, I was putting in $800 to $1,000 a month from my sales job, where I take home around $4,500 to $5,000 after taxes. Kimberly was chipping in $400 to $500 from her bank teller job. Not huge but steady, and I respected that. At least I used to. The problem was, we set it up so either person could make withdrawals without the other being present. At the time, it made sense. Trusted couple, easy access in case of emergencies. Seemed like the mature thing to do. But now, I realized how stupid that was. So during lunch, I drove to the bank. Not her branch. Obviously, I'm not that dumb. I went to the main location downtown where she doesn't work. The last thing I needed was her co-workers getting involved in this drama or giving her a heads up. I went up to the first available teller, an older lady who looked like she'd been there since the bank opened. "I need to withdraw funds from this account," I said, handing over my ID and account information. She pulled it up, and I could see her eyes widen when she saw the balance, $47,182. Almost 50 grand we had saved up over more than 2 years of disciplined saving. Money that was supposed to buy us a house in a nice neighborhood, maybe even leave enough for decent furniture. "This is a joint account, sir. You'll need both parties present to make any large withdrawals," she said. "Actually, either person can withdraw funds independently. That's how joint accounts work," I explained. She looked unsure and called her supervisor. He double-checked the account terms and confirmed what I already knew. Either of us could withdraw without the other. "How much would you like to withdraw today, Mr. Hayes?" she asked. I had been thinking about this number during the drive. Our balance was $47,382. I had contributed about $32,000 of that. Kimberly had put in maybe $15,000, give or take. Technically, I could have taken the whole thing, but I'm not a complete asshole. I just wanted what was mine. "I'd like to withdraw $32,000. "Please," she told me, because it was a large withdrawal. They'd need to verify my identity and have me sign some extra paperwork for anything over $10,000. Fine by me. It took about an hour with all their security steps and questions about what I planned to do with the money. I just told them I was making a large purchase, which wasn't exactly a lie. Since I was already planning to use some of it for that Italy trip I had originally planned for both of us. I walked out with a cashier's check for $32,000, leaving her with $15,382, the exact amount she had contributed. More than fair, considering she's the one who blew up our relationship for closure with her ex. I drove straight to my personal bank, a completely different one, and deposited the check into my individual account. They said the funds would be available in 2 business days. Later that day, around 4 p.m., I was finishing up a sales call when my phone buzzed with another unknown number. I answered, thinking it was work again. Nope. It was Kimberly, calling from her job since I'd already blocked her personal line. She didn't even apologize. She just jumped straight into demanding to know why I stole $32,000 from our savings. I reminded her it was my money, my share of the future house fund. She freaked out, saying she couldn't buy a house with what was left. I told her maybe she should have thought about that before crawling back to Jaden. She tried to play the one-night card, like that made cheating any less brutal. I made it clear she tanked her own life. I wasn't going down with her. She hung up. Good. Saved me the effort of blocking another number. 2 hours later, Connor called again, this time from another number. So he must have borrowed someone's phone since I'd already blocked his. "You stole my sister's money. You piece of—" "I took my own money from an account I had legal access to," I interrupted. He started yelling that the $32,000 was for her future, as if her future didn't already involve not cheating on me in the first place. Then, of course, came another tough guy threat. "You'll pay for this." Like he was auditioning for a bad action movie. I shut him down fast. Told him if he kept calling and running his mouth, I'd have no problem filing a police report. Hung up and blocked that number too. At this point, I'm honestly thinking about changing my phone number entirely. But since I use it for work, updating all my business contacts would be a huge hassle. The funny thing is, I wasn't even being vindictive about the money. Legally, I could have taken every last dollar. That's how joint accounts work. Both people have full access. If Kimberly had gotten to the bank before me, she could have drained it completely and left me with nothing. Instead, I actually left her with more than she'd put in. I wasn't trying to screw her over financially. I was just protecting myself from someone who had already proven she couldn't be trusted. And honestly, the best part about all this was that I'd already taken Monday off work to start planning that Italy trip. Originally, it was supposed to be a surprise anniversary getaway for both of us, Rome and Florence. I'd spent weeks researching hotels, restaurants, and even had a full itinerary ready. Now, it was going to be a solo trip, funded with money that was rightfully mine, celebrating my freedom from someone who thought cheating counted as closure. Kimberly had always said Italy was too expensive, that we should keep saving for the house instead. Funny how priorities change when you're no longer saving for a future with someone who doesn't respect you. The morning of my flight to Rome. I was standing at the airport check-in counter when I saw something that made my blood run cold. Kimberly, sitting at gate B12 with a rolling suitcase, looking around like she was waiting for someone. She was at my gate. For my flight. The one I had booked as a surprise for our anniversary. I finished checking in and walked over, trying to wrap my head around what the hell was happening. This was surreal, even for the chaos of the last week. She spotted me right away and jumped up with this huge smile, like nothing had happened. Like we hadn't broken up 4 days ago. Like she hadn't confessed to cheating on me during our anniversary dinner. Hayden, I knew you'd come around. I already checked in. I used the confirmation number from your email. The audacity. She'd gone through my email, found the flight confirmation I had saved for the surprise trip, and booked herself onto the flight. Like she could just show up and pretend everything was fine. Like her cheating was some minor disagreement we could fix with a romantic getaway. I didn't say a word. I just reached into my wallet, pulled out the original ticket I had printed when I planned this as a couple's trip, and tore it slowly into pieces right in front of her face. Let the scraps fall onto the airport floor like confetti. Her smile vanished instantly. "What are you doing?" Still, I didn't say a thing. Sometimes silence says more than words ever could. I picked up my carry-on and walked to another part of the gate. Of course, she followed. Kimberly has never been good at taking hints. "Hayden, please." I thought this could be a fresh start for us. A chance to work things out in a romantic setting. I put my earbuds in and opened the book I brought for the flight. She stood there for about 10 minutes, talking to the side of my head about how we belonged together and how what happened with Jaden didn't mean anything. Eventually, security told her to move along since she didn't have a valid ticket anymore and was bothering other passengers. I watched her walk away, dragging her suitcase, probably having to explain to her Uber driver why she wasn't actually going anywhere. Part of me wondered how she even got through TSA without a boarding pass. But then I remembered, she works at a bank. She probably knows how to talk her way past underpaid security agents. 5 days later, I was sitting at a cafe in Florence, sipping the best espresso I've ever had, when my cousin Austin called. "Dude, you need to see what Kimberly just posted on Facebook. She's completely lost it. He sent me screenshots over WhatsApp. She had written this long, rambling post about toxic masculinity and insecure men who can't handle their girlfriend's history. She painted me as some controlling abuser who kicked her out over jealousy, instead of admitting she cheated on me with her ex. Her post said, "Ladies, beware of insecure men who think they own you. My ex couldn't handle that I have a past, and literally called the police to have me removed from his house over a misunderstanding. Then he stole $30,000 from our joint account while I was at work, and is now flaunting it on social media from Italy. This is what financial abuse looks like. I'm staying strong, but please keep me in your thoughts during this difficult time. A misunderstanding." She called cheating a misunderstanding, like she accidentally tripped and fell naked onto Jaden's dick. The comments were mixed, but leaning in a direction she definitely hadn't expected. Some of her friends gave the usual, "You deserve better, girl," but plenty of others were asking pointed questions. What kind of misunderstanding gets the police involved? What exactly did you do that made him react this way? Then Jessica, our waitress from Romano's, showed up in the comments like an angel of truth. "Girl, didn't you tell your boyfriend at your anniversary dinner that you slept with your ex for closure? I was your waitress that night. He gave me a $3,000 bracelet because of what you said. Maybe tell the whole story." That comment got 23 likes before Kimberly deleted it. But screenshots are forever, so I decided to post my own response. Nothing mean or petty, just a simple update. Just checking in from Florence. Sometimes life takes unexpected turns and you realize what really matters. Grateful for family and friends who support you when people show their true colors. The reaction was instant and overwhelmingly positive. People started putting the pieces together. If Kimberly was posting about being kicked out, and I was posting from Italy with money from the joint account, it wasn't exactly a mystery. My cousin Austin commented, "Living well is the best revenge." My parents both liked the post. Even my boss chimed in, "Enjoy the vacation. You've earned it." But the best comment came from Jaden himself. "Yep, the guy she cheated with. He jumped in to distance himself from the drama, writing, "Some people need to take accountability for their choices instead of blaming others. Hope you find peace, man. Holy shit." Even her affair partner was calling her out publicly. Kimberly replied with 10 crying emojis and, "I can't believe you're siding with him." But the damage was done. Jaden deleted his comment soon after, but by then people had already seen it and screenshots were circulating. By the end of the day, her post had way more criticism than support. Comments like, "So you cheated and he left you. That's not abuse, that's consequences. Wait, you slept with someone else and you're mad he took his own money? Jessica said you confessed at dinner. Is that true?" That evening, she deleted the entire post. Meanwhile, my phone had about 50 missed calls from her family and Connor. Didn't matter, I'd already blocked all their numbers. I just enjoyed my last night in Florence, sleeping better than I had in months. The flight home was bittersweet. Part of me didn't want to leave Italy and come back to all the drama. But another part of me felt ready to start the next chapter of my life. Whatever that looked like. I've been back from Italy for 2 weeks now, and the first thing I did was change my locks, just like I'd planned. I also installed a Ring doorbell so I could see who was at my house without ever opening the door. Smart investment, because Connor tried coming by 3 times last week. Each time, I just watched him through the Ring app, banging on my door and yelling that I needed to man up and face him. But I wasn't even home. I was either at work or deliberately staying away until he left. For someone who supposedly works full-time in construction, the guy has way too much free time. He even left notes under my door. The first one said, "We need to talk man to man." The second, "Stop being a coward and face me. You can't hide forever." I kept all the notes and filed a police report for harassment. The officer who took my statement said if Connor kept showing up, they'd arrest him for criminal trespass since he'd already been told not to come near my property. Having Ring doorbell footage made it an open and shut case if I wanted to press charges. Meanwhile, Austin filled me in on everything I'd missed while I was gone. And honestly, it's been like watching a slow-motion train wreck. Turns out Kimberly's job at First National Bank didn't appreciate her social media drama one bit. Someone, probably Jessica or one of her coworkers, sent screenshots of her financial abuse posts to her manager. Her manager called her in and basically told her that publicly accusing someone of stealing money while having the bank listed on her profile was unacceptable. She got written up for unprofessional conduct and had to delete all her posts. And the cherry on top? Jaden wants absolutely nothing to do with her now. Turns out he's been seriously dating someone else this whole time, a yoga instructor named Ashley, who, by all accounts, is everything Kimberly isn't. Confident, independent, and doesn't need closure with her exes to figure out her feelings. Sometimes the trash really does take itself out.